Good day, Mom. My name is Danica and Amolat, and I'm from BSHM 3A. And for this video I am going to report about the chapter 6. So before we proceed to our discussion, let us read the learning objective first. So first, we need to identify the various government agencies involving in development and promotional of the tourism industry as well as their functions. And also next, describe the relationship of these agencies with one another. And lastly, explain the possibility of public service as a career in this industry. Next is we do have here the first slide. It was during the year 1973 when the Philippines government realized that there is a need to realign government efforts towards trade, promotion, and tourism development for greater effectiveness. So hence, the need for the government's immediate and priority attention, these give rise to the presidential decree on May 11, 1973, creating the Department of the Tourism, which had enacted to make the tourism industry a positive instrument towards accelerated national development, through which more people from countries may visit and better appreciate the country, and through which the Filipinos themselves may learn more about the natural beauty, history, and culture of the Philippines, and those develop greater pride and also it committed to the nation. And moving on to the next slide, we do have here the Department of Tourism. The DOT, or the Department of Tourism, was created by virtue to Presidential Decree number 189, and it is the primary policy making, planning, programming, coordinating, and administrative entity to the executive branch of the government and the development of the tourism industry, and both and international. So there are also functions of the DOT. Those includes it supervise all the activities of the government which concerns the tourism, and also it effect the removal of the unnecessary barrier to travel, the integration and simplification of travel regulation, as well as their efficient, fair, and courteous enforcement to assure that expeditious and hospitable reception of all visitors. And also, it formulate and integrate program of promotion and publicity designed to attract and induce people abroad to visit the Philippines. And for the next slide, we do have here the Philippine Tourism Authority Presidential Decree 564, October 2, 1974, was enacted revising the Charter of the Philippine Tourism Authority, which was originally created under Presidential Decree number 189 dated May 1, 1973. Strengthening the Philippine Tourism Authority was needed in order to be in a better position to effectively unify and integrate related activities and service both government and private entities pertaining to tourism development projects. So, travel tax collection is the main source of the income. So, travel tax is levy imposed by the government on the individuals including those citizens of the Philippines and their permanent residents who have stayed in the country for more than a year, who are leaving the country irrespective of the place where the air ticket is issued as provided for. And also, currently, PTA has the following general powers. So first is to implement policies and programs of the Department of Tourism pertaining to the development, promotion, and supervision of the tourism projects in the Philippines. And the next is to promote. So to promote development integrated resort complexes of selected and well-defined geographic areas with potential tourism value, known otherwise as tourist zone. And we do have the next one is to extend all forms of assistance to private enterprise in undertaking tourism projects. And next is to undertake for its own account or in joint venture with the private sector and the operation and maintenance of the essential tourist facility which private enterprise alone is not prepared or willing to undertake. And next is to assure availability of the land at reasonable prices or rental rates for the private investor in hotels and other tourism facilities. And for the last one is to coordinate, assist, and implement tourism related plans or operations of the government or government agencies, public and where clearly necessary cooperation celebrated and balanced for the feasible those of the private entities so as to make possible growth and development of the tourists of the Philippines. And moving on to the next slide, we do have here the Intramuros Administration. Intramuros Administration is for the 100 years. Has been priceless heritage of the past for the city of Manila and a major historical landmark of the Philippines. And in order to preserve and enhance the historical value of the Intramuros, a national historical consciousness program demands its restoration, development, and maintenance, and for this purpose. Hence, Presidential Decree number 1616 on April 10, 1979 created the Intramuros Administration and was charged with such vital rules and responsibilities. And moving on to the next slide, we do have here the other government agencies. So let's give its definition and also its function and responsibilities. So we do have here the National Parks Development, and the committee was created originally as an executive committee of the Quezon Memorial, Luneta, and it was later designated as the National Parks Development. And despite an attempt to transfer it to the Bureau of the Forest Development, Department of Natural Resources, the NPDC has remained under the office of the President. And next is we do have here the National Historical Institute, which is NH. Presidential Decree number 260 dated in August 1, 1973 has declared certain sites, churches, institute in collaboration of the supervision and place their preservation and places as the national shrines, monuments, and or landmarks restoration and reconstruction control of the natural historical and with the Department of the Tourism. And next is we do have here the Philippine Convention and Visitor Corporation, and is a non-stock and non-profit government corporation attached to the Department of the Tourism or the DOT, and it is tasked with promoting the country as an ideal tourism, convention, and incentive travel destination. And next is we have the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas. And the primary objective of the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas is to maintain price stability, conducive to balance and sustainable growth of the economy and employment. And it shall also promote and maintain monetary stability and convertibility of the peso. And next is the National Economic Development Authority or the NEDA. And it is the country's independent economic development and planning agency. So the agency review and monitors and evaluate infrastructure projects in addition to undertaking short-term policy and reviews that provide critical analysis of the development issues and policy alternatives to decision makers. And next is the Department of the Environment and Natural Resources or the DNR. So it is responsible for the conservation management and development of the country's environment and natural resources. And it shall ensure the proper use of these resources and the protection of the environment within the framework of sustainable development. And next is we have here the Air Transportation Office establish and prescribe the corresponding rules and regulation for the enforcement of laws governing air and transportation. And also we have the Philippine National Railways. So it provides affordability, sustainability, safety, efficiency, and reliability of the railways services to the Filipino commuters as a socio-economic development tool to ease the bottlenecks of the Philippine transportation networks. And next is we have the Department of Trade and Industry, or the DTI, and it provides protection to consumers through consumer education and information dissemination programs and information materials such as consumer alerts, tips, and advisory are regularly released and updated. And next is the Philippine Economic Zone Authority, and its function is to monitor and evaluate the development and requires of the ecozones and recommend to the local government units or other appropriate authorities and the local or the location incentive basic services, utilities, and infrastructure required or to be made by available for the said entities. And for the continuation of the other agencies, we do have here the Department of Foreign Affairs, and it advises and assists the President in planning, organizing, directing, coordinating, integrating, and evaluating the total national effort in the field of the foreign relations in pursuit of the constitutional mandate. And it is in kagawaran ng ugnayang panlabas is the Executive Department of the Philippine government has to contribute and to the enhancement of the national security, protection of the territorial integrity and national sovereignty to participate in the national endeavor of sustaining and development. And next is we have the Department of Interior and Local Government, and its task or responsibility is it is arranging from supervision over the local units, forest conservations, public instruction and control supervision over the police, counterinsurgency, rehabilitation, community and development, and cooperatives development and program. And next is we have the Bureau of the Food and Drugs, and it is the key regulatory agency of the Department of the Health. And in the Philippines, with major responsibilities, it ensures safety and quality of the food products, drugs, vaccines, and biologicals, diagnostic reagents, medical devices, and cosmetics and household hazardous substances. Next is the Bureau of Custom. It supervises and controls the entrance and clearance of the vessels and aircrafts engaged in the foreign commerce. And for its continuation, we have the Professional Regulatory Board for the Custom Brokers, or the PRBCB. So it is under the supervision and administrative control of the Professional Regulatory Commission, and its primary mandate to the supervision, control, and the regulation of the practice of the custom broker and profession. And for the next is we have the Nayong Pilipino Foundation. So the Nayong Pilipino Foundation was created primarily to promote research development project on the social science and humanities, or HUMS, and it was registered with the Securities and Exchange Commission on May 7, 1969. And as a non-stock and non-profit corporation, the Nayong Filipino was conceptualized by the First Lady, which is Imelda Marcos, to be cultural theme park showcasing Filipino culture. And at its peak, the park was divided into 6 different zones or regions, including Ilocos, Cordillera, Tagalog, Bicol, Visayas, and the Mindanao. Next is the Tourism Enterprise Zone Authority, or TEZ, and it is a tract of the land with defined boundaries, master planning to be developed and into integrated tourism complex, prescribed carrying capabilities to host tourism enterprise, facilities, and services with the property. And it is designated as such by TIEZA Board under Republic Act 1995-93. So that ends with my report, Mom. Thank you so much for watching and listening. And again, this is Danica Amolat from BSHM 3A. Thank you and God bless.